There is a certain race, I think, that is on here now, and we're part of it.
I don't even know where to start. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Donald Trump removing America from 66 organizations. We have him dropping the hammer on corporations' ability to buy family homes in America. This is huge. Meanwhile, Mark Carney is twiddling his thumbs, doing absolutely nothing. We've got a ton of stories here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got Marty up north posting this from 388, showing the aggregate here of all the polls that have come out for, well, I don't know, last year or so, 2 years. The main thing to note here and what he's pointing out is the NDP and the Green Party's rise. You can see it down here, this little blip up here. NDP in a lot of polls now are up to 12%. They were down at like 6%, so they've gained back a lot of their support. Those are swing voters who voted for Mark Carney, and now they've come back. He also mentions the Conservatives have dropped a little bit too, but if you look at the drop here, it's quite a bit more. The Liberals have lost a lot more than the Conservatives, and this is what we expected. There'd be a couple swing voters that went Conservatives. More of them, because they're leftists, would go to the Liberal Party, and they've all gone back to the Green Party and the NDP. This is awful for Mark Carney, and he's doing everything possible to try to not have an election because he knows he's going to lose at this point. And so what is he doing? He's off to China. So I mentioned this in the previous video. We got a bit more details here. He's heading over to Beijing for 4 days, which is crazy. He's spending that much time there. And on top of that, he's going over to the World Economic Forum. Of course he is. 2 days at the World Economic Forum. I thought this was funny, Melissa posting this. So last month, the RCMP restricted the use of Chinese-made drones, citing high security risk, and yet Mark Carney is traveling to China to make trade deals. So as Carney would say, who cares? RCMP restricts Chinese-made drones, the vast majority of its fleet. Police say 80% of the drone fleet presents a high security risk. Yeah, Carney doesn't care. Xi Jinping campaigned for him during the election. Moving ahead, we've got this bombshell. Trump withdraws from 66 international organizations and treaties, including major climate groups. This is absolutely wild. In a presidential memorandum, Trump said it is contrary to the interests of the United States to remain a member or participate in or otherwise provide support to the organizations, which also include groups geared towards education, economic development, cybersecurity, human rights, and others. And these organizations, there's a guy here on X who posted all of them. 24/7 Carbon-Free Energy Compact. We're not going to read all these, but Colombo Plan Council, Global Forum on Migration and Development, International Energy Forum, International Solar Alliance, Renewable Energy Policy Network. There's just organization after organization. A whole bunch of these are UN ones at the bottom: UN Alliance of Civilization, UN Democracy Fund, UN Energy, UN Oceans, UN Population Fund. There's a ton. This is wild. Trump is making massive moves right now. This is going to fire so many useless people sitting there drawing salaries and doing almost nothing for the world. I mean, yeah, I think that's true. We've also got this too. So remember the president of Colombia trying to egg on Trump, and then Trump said, oh yeah, you want me to go down there and get you too? And then he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now he's backpedaling here. Colombian President Petro caves big time to Donald Trump. He just called Trump to drop the Tough Guy Act, and a meeting is arranged with Marco Rubio. And Trump says here, it was a great honor to speak with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, who called to explain the situation of street candy and other disagreements that we may have had. Appreciate the call, etc. This is funny how these guys put on the Tough Guy Act, and then when Trump just even looks at them, they're like, okay, whoa, I was just kidding, And we've got Keir Starmer here. His polling is down to 11%, a new low. Of course it is. Look how bad things are in the UK. We also have this in the news, Chrystia Freeland being forced to resign. She's resigning now on Friday because, as I said, this is awful optics. You can't have her as an agent of Ukraine working in the Canadian government. Like, come on, what are the Liberals doing? I thought they were the ones that are great at politics but terrible at running the country. Now are they just terrible at politics and terrible at running the country? They're good at nothing. And speaking of good at nothing, we have Doug Ford. Listen to this nonsense. He is doubling down on getting rid of Crown Royal. How is this even legal?
Be clear, you are going to remove Crown Royal from the LCBO store shelves?
Oh, 100% I am.
When, sir?
100%. No, I'm just going to focus on Crown Royal for now.
Just focus on Crown Royal. Just attack one company. Like, what the heck, man? How is he not getting sued for this? He's such a buffoon. Yes, he is. That's what he is. That was the number one thing he is. And as Jasmine says, what a terrible message to the market. You do what we say or else we pull your product. Moving ahead, we have Donald Trump dropping another bombshell. And there's actually another one after this, just heads up. So Donald Trump's posting this: for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. It was the reward for working hard and doing the right thing. But now, because because of record high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, the American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people, especially younger Americans. It is for that reason and much more that I'm taking immediate steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more in my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So he's going to the World Economic Forum. He's going to stick it to them there. And as you saw here, he's banning corporate ownership of single-family homes, detached homes. This is unreal. So comparing that to the U.S. housing market right now, it says it's reached its most unaffordable level in history. It says 2025 bubble. This is what Trump's trying to bring down here. And if you've been following my channel now since the beginning, this is what I came out with. And I said we should be doing in Canada. We should be banning corporations from buying homes. I haven't talked about it in a while now, but I used to manage my ex-wife's notary office. I did trust accounting for her. We did about $10 to $12 million of real estate deals per month. I have a lot of knowledge in real estate. And when I started my channel, I said we should be banning corporate ownership of homes in Canada, period. And that's what Donald Trump is doing here. Now, the few details on this is for single family detached homes. This isn't for apartments or land. I'm assuming this would be for townhouses, but we don't know. We do have this here, immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single family homes. This is going to have a couple effects here. The first one is the stock market. Now, Trump announcing this, Blackstone stock went from 164 all the way down to 146, as this guy points out, $18 billion lost in one day. The very same Blackstone here with the CEO and chairman, Stephen A. Schwartzman. Funny enough, as you can see here, he chaired President Trump's Strategic Policy Forum in 2017, donated $33.5 million to Republican candidates. I'm curious what his opinion of this is, seeing how Blackstone lost $18 billion in value today. This is the same Stephen A. Schwartzman had meetings with Mark Carney at WF in Davos. The same Blackstone that invested $150 million in Western LNG Houston, which owns Western LNG Vancouver, which is investing in KSI Lissam's LNG. And it's the very same Blackstone that Mark Carney is invested in right there, Blackstone Group. So Mark Carney's stock here taking a big hit. So aside from the stock market there, this is going to have major implications for Canada, not only America. We got this guy posting, Canada is talking about letting foreign companies buy our homes in 2027. This is what the Carney Liberals came out with. They're thinking of dropping the foreign home ownership ban in 2027, which is insane. We don't need that to come back ever. We shouldn't have foreign people buying our houses. Why? What good is that for us? It's great for Justin Trudeau, who owns a real estate development company, and sure, Mark Carney and all these grifters have lots of real estate, but it's terrible for us. He says, meanwhile, Trump wants to ban Wall Street landlords from buying up single family homes. Yeah, so I mean, what's Carney going to do here? Carney has buddies in the real estate industry. Bob Rennie, big developer in Vancouver. I got to think these big corporations, they're going to start buying more single family homes in Canada. I would expect housing in Canada to get more expensive from this because there's going to be big institutional money that wants to buy single family homes. A lot of them don't want to buy into condos because they don't want to deal with all the HOA fees or strata fees, maintenance fees. They don't have control over that stuff when you've got a council, a committee that votes on that stuff, where a single family home, you got to think of Brookfield or Blackstone or BlackRock. They have companies that can go and fix all this stuff. They have HVAC. They have all these guys they could send to fix all their houses. They have way more control. So they would rather, I think a lot of them would rather do single family homes versus condos. If they're doing condos, they probably would like to own the entire building and rent all of it. They're not just going to buy individual units. So I don't know if this is really going to spike condo values in America all that much. I think more likely that money is going to flow to Canada and increase our real estate prices once again. And we should be banning this immediately. We should ban it today. No more corporations buying single family homes. I've been saying this for 2 years. They have no business buying single family homes. Canada is a Ponzi scheme that's trying to avoid collapse. That's basically our real estate market. Yep. Fixed housing and cost of living so income can run a household again like it used to. Looking at a few charts and graphs here, we've got this one. Toronto area median price sinks to a 5-year low, wiping all those world event gains, as you see from here all the way down to here. And for this market, all these big corporations, they're not going to go into Toronto. It's already way too expensive. The places they're going, we already see where they're going. Brookfield is investing in Edmonton, Calgary, places with lots of jobs, prosperity, a more booming market being run by a conservative. That's where these big institutional corporation investors are, like BlackRock and Brookfield are going. They're going to cheaper places with better outlook and more jobs. Stuff like this, a $645,000 loss on a Mississauga bungalow isn't a bad flip. It's a case study of how 2022 housing narrative collapsed in real time. People getting their entire life savings wiped out because they trusted Justin Trudeau that interest rates would stay at historic lows. I mean, look at this one here. This is comparing United States, but we can look where Canada Canada is on this map. Percentage of households own homes without mortgage. You got United States 23%, Canada 28%, owns homes with mortgages 42% of Americans, while Canada's right there 36%, and total home ownership 65% of Americans, while 64% of Canadians. We're so closely tied to America. These big corporations, they would rather invest somewhere close if they can't go to America, and there's Canada right there. They're going to pick these areas where jobs are coming in. It's going to be more in Edmonton, more in Calgary, probably some stuff in Saskatchewan, maybe out in Atlantic Canada and some more rural places in British Columbia. Watch the housing prices start to skyrocket. And on top of this, we have Trump with this one saying President Trump says executives of U.S. defense contractors will no longer be allowed to make more than $5 million unless they build new and modern production plants. Trump also says he's banning dividends and stock buybacks for defense companies until these problems are rectified. This is wild. Defense contractors are currently issuing massive dividends to their shareholders and massive stock buybacks at the expense and detriment of investing in plants and equipment. It's basically taking stock out of the market, increasing their value, which is good for them, but I mean, it doesn't offer anything back. He goes on to say no executive should be allowed to make in excess of $5 million, which is as high as it sounds, is a mere fraction of what they're making now. And then he goes on to say, therefore, I will not permit dividends or stock buybacks for defense companies until such time that these problems are rectified. I mean, when they're getting American tax dollars, this is completely justified. Trump is just swinging here, coming out with policy after policy, not to mention trying to get Greenland and Venezuela. And with this news, we see wild swings in the stock market. So this is Lockheed Martin's stock. It absolutely tanked from Trump's tweet here, going from 532 all the way down to 497. And then it spiked all the way back up and higher when 2 hours later, President Trump said the U.S. military budget should be raised to $1.5 trillion, and the stock is now up 7%. It's just insane. We also got Pierre Poilievre posting this: a new million-barrel-a-day pipeline to the Pacific could generate $30 billion every year for our economy. That is twice the total value of all cargo that comes in and out of the St. Lawrence Seaway every year. Time for Carney to get out of the way and let Canadians build the pipeline. He is pressing hard here. Carney's first response is to go run away to China. Really shows where his priorities are. While we're talking about the pipeline, I thought this was very thought-provoking. This guy here, Pascal, saying most people don't realize that Canada's oil transformation and transport are 100% dependent on the U.S. Today, we have almost no way to export oil elsewhere, none that is economically viable. That's what Canada voted for the last few decades. I mean, we've only got basically Trans Mountain here, which just opened up barely last year. So he's right, like we're basically completely landlocked, which is ridiculous. So, I mean, we should be getting this one out to Prince Rupert ASAP. Moving over to CTV here, we got Scott Moe here being asked about the pipeline. Vasi essentially asking the same question over and over. Scott lays it out straight.
I wanted to start off on the post this week from you online in response to essentially what's unfolded with Venezuela and Trump's desire to see more U.S. access to Venezuelan oil. From everything I've read, it's nowhere near a given that Venezuela will be able to increase its oil exports. Does it really make sense for Canada to pursue new policies or pipelines here to counter a threat that I can't really find a single credible expert say will definitely materialize?
First off, that's a dumb question. Like, I get she's trying to be bad cop and she can ask a good question even under the veil of common sense. Like, come on, that's a dumb question. Obviously, this is going to affect our exports. To what level, we don't know, but it's going to affect it. I mean, come on.
Well, it's three things. One, there's some existing production from Venezuela. If that finds its way to the U.S. market, that's one thing. It could potentially displace Western Canadian oil. The second thing is, if there is investment, you could see increased not only export capacity for Venezuelan oil, but increased production as well. That could replace Western Canadian oil in the U.S. However, we also need to understand that, oil is sold in a global marketplace, and Canadian oil can be sold in the global marketplace as well. What's restricted that, and 95% of oil from our province goes to the U.S. because we've been restricted on our ability to actually get it to the West Coast or to a port of any kind. And so, the race is on, I think, definitely for Canada to expand our ability to get our products, all products, including oil, but other products as well, to global markets around the world to ensure our port capacity, our rail capacity is operating at a level that the world can access the products that we are producing so that we can continue to secure our economic future as Canadians. So there is a certain race, I think, that is on here now, and we're part of it.
I certainly understand your point about the race and the political and economic impetus to diversify markets, but does the business case exist? And I'll go back to my original question, which is...
Yeah, it does. We know the business case exists. We've had numerous countries come to us and say, hey, sell us your product. China even said they want more of our oil. And sure, we're not going to cozy too close to China, but I mean, sure, we can sell them some more oil. We can sell our LNG to other countries. We can sell it to India, Germany. There's a bunch of them. Justin Trudeau said there was no business case when there was numerous business cases. I'll agree with her style of interviews here where it's always bad cop. It's better to just dig down on a topic and ask a better question. Comes down to it, Mark Carney doesn't care about these projects because that's not where all his money is. His money's in Stripe. His money's in carbon capture. I had this interesting clip sent to me. This is someone from Venezuela talking about what it's really like to live under Maduro. Listen to this. She talks of how Maduro and his goons were pew-pewing people who just simply had his Venezuelan flag down in a crowd. Not just Maduro standing back and watching, but actively pew-pewing himself.
I was there with my mom. We were in the protest. We started to get shot at from the top, and the order was that anybody that was wearing the flag as a shirt or anything, we were to be shot. And one of the people that was shooting down at protesters, at Venezuelans, was Maduro. He was one of the people shooting down. And that is proven. And there are photos of him attacking people. So you cannot tell me that he shouldn't be there. Now, he's there. There are so many other things that he has done that he's not paying for. But America is making him accountable for the things that are threatening directly Americans.
He's already been indicted on numerous things that, as she said, affects Americans, but he's not getting charged for all these other crimes he's committed in Venezuela. But as you heard, Maduro himself pew-pewing at people, protesters, he's coming out and pew-pewing them. The left supporting this guy saying international law, release Maduro, is absolutely insane. We see this out of Minneapolis today. A bunch of people block the road. These are all leftists just going crazy here. There's no audio on this, but you can see like it got really bad. Some ICE officers showed up trying to arrest some people. A lady tried to run them over and then they pew-pewed the lady and she perished. And now these people are melting down even more. I mean, these people advocating for Maduro's release, it's something on another level. And while we're talking about Maduro and oil and tankers, we've got footage here. I believe Delta Force coming in, helicopter coming in and boarding the vessel. This is crazy. So there's obviously another helicopter or something that's filming this with night vision goggles or night vision cameras. This is how they commandeered this ship and took the oil. While we're talking about oil, we've got David Eby here asked about getting a new pipeline built through to British Columbian Tidewater. What do you think his reply is?
Given what is happening in Venezuela and all the discussions around oil, Premier, are you feeling some more pressure to lift the tanker ban and approve a pipeline? There's so much discussion around oil right now. But given that the U.S. is going to soon have access to cheaper Venezuelan oil, does that change the discussion for you?
First of all,
So he babbles about Maduro a bit there. Nothing all that important. And here's his response on the pipeline.
The second component of your question is an important one. You might be able to, you can't see it behind me right now, but there is a publicly owned pipeline that feeds into Vancouver Harbor here. It is publicly owned. It's not a capacity. We're happy to work with Alberta and the federal government on ensuring access to Tidewater. But what we don't support, what I don't support, is taxpayers paying for another publicly owned pipeline across the north. The economics have been very challenging for that proposal. There is still no private sector proponent. There's nobody who wants to build it.
Yeah, because it's blocked. You're not allowed to build a pipeline. This guy's the audacity to even mention money at all when he took a $6 billion surplus from John Horgan and turned it into a $11 or $12 billion deficit. He's been a disaster for British Columbia. He needs to resign.
From the private sector, if the price of oil is staying low and continues to stay low, I expect there to be calls for another publicly funded pipeline when we don't even use the one that we have.
That's not the plan. The plan is to get rid of regulations and the companies will come in. He knows this. He's being a doofus as usual. And a pipeline that's not at capacity is like 87%. We need to be building another one right now. Moving ahead, I thought this was hilarious. So Table Salt posting this. People are using Grok AI to ask questions and it'll auto-generate pictures. And it's getting out of control on X. People are posting all sorts of politicians and people and asking them to be put into bikinis and whatever. But this one here, Grok removed the traitor to Canada. Look at the response. That must burn, Carney.